Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Gold Mythic Easter Eva, who is going to be the character reward in the Easter event. This is the second Eva we have had come to the game, of course, the first being in the Mythic era already, so this is kind of what we've seen a couple of times with some of these holiday hero characters, and she is going to be a holiday hero, obviously being the Easter character. As you can see visually, she looks pretty cool on the right hand side. She's got the bunny ears, she's got the bunny mask, she's got a nice little bright weapon, bright pants, I like it, and you can see rabbit sort of like motifs and sort of emotes everywhere. She loves the rabbits and it makes sense. And on the left hand side you can see in the background there's a little bunny rabbit with an egg balanced on its head. Very interesting. If we look at her stats as a limit break 3 character, level 720, she has got 19,077 attack, 15,060 defense, and 16,065 HP. She is a tough character, of course, holding that ranged weapon, but she is considered a medic with quite high attack stat. She's a mythic character, of course, and like I said before, she is going to be another character to join the Holiday Heroes, the most buffed out allegiance in RTS, without a doubt. We're going to have to see what is in store for the rest of her kit with that high damage and medic roll. It seems kind of interesting. Let's take a look. First up, we'll check out her Adrenaline Rush, and it is called Easter Surprise. It is a 66 AP cost rush, so pretty fast. Remove 100% of the current bonus HP from a line of enemies. Deal 800% damage to that line of enemies. This is obviously awesome. It's going to work against any team basically that has heavy amounts of bonus HP, and that pretty much is any tough characters on defense teams can get bonus HP quite quickly. Davey on his specialist skill, and of course Mr. Lou can do a lot of bonus HP on alert and strong characters. So bonus HP is everywhere at the moment, and it does make actually doing damage as a percentage damage dealer a lot harder. So the fact that she removes that first and then smashes them with an 800% rush that cannot actually be reflected or anything, is just a flat line rush, kind of like old school, is really good, obviously. Really, really good. So let's say someone had like 50,000 HP, they'd actually have 100,000 if they had bonus HP. She'd effectively be doing 100,000 damage just from the first half of this by removing that bonus HP. And then the second half of it would come in against the flat HP, the red bar, rather than the blue bar, because the blue bar would have been removed. Okay, so as you can see, I have let the turns go a little bit, just let the bonus HP just stock up. This happens very quickly, and generally in fights, and I'm going to rush the bottom line. Just look at the bonus HP on both of those characters, it's about 80 to 90%, and I'm going to just target Mr. Lou here. I'm not going to speed this up at all, you're going to have to just watch. The bonus HP should just instantly get removed, and then the line damage will come in against the actual line of HP. As you can see, we do obviously do trait damage on the line, and then the other character is going to take non-trait damage. You can obviously configure this a little bit differently. You could go for attack versus mods, you know, that sort of thing. Obviously the higher attack stat she's got, the better chance she's got of doing more damage, so on and so forth. So, you know, there's definitely nice little bits of damage you can get here, and the bonus HP disappearing, I like this a lot. I think bonus HP is really making using percentage damage dealers a lot harder. Now look at the upgrades on her Adrenaline Rush, and Eva gets an upgrade to the rush where initially it doesn't do any damage, but at grade 3 it gets an upgrade where she does 400 damage to that line. Grade 5 she does plus 50% remove bonus HP, so initially it is only going to be 50% removal, then it gets topped up to 100%, and at limit break 2 she gets another 400% damage to that line of enemies, topping up to 800% damage, which is a very, very hefty hit. She has got better base attack than Lydia, so her attack stat is pretty nice. Now remember, she cannot crit this, so pure attack is pretty much the way you want to go. And this is kind of a bonus, like I was saying. It's kind of strange. She is a medic, but she would actually have no benefit if she was a damage dealer from agility on this Adrenaline Rush. So perhaps she's got healing in other parts of her kit, which will help. Let's have a little look at her signature move, and then we'll move on to her passives. Looking at that signature move, and you can see it has got an initial cooldown of turn 2, Cooldown of 2 turns, number of uses unlimited. Deal 400% damage to a single enemy. That enemy has defense down block removed and gets minus 50% defense for 1 turn. Now it's important to realize, again, we'll go through it, that this cannot crit. So agility again wouldn't have helped this. So the fact that she's a medic doesn't seem to be a negative at all when it comes to her damage potential on her rush or on her signature move. But it is worth noting that the second half of this rush will come in after the damage comes in. So it won't be a 400% damage hit against someone who has minus 50% defense. So Eva effectively will just be kind of like breaking down the wall on some of these characters. You know, there's a lot of characters out there who've got the defense down block because we've got Zeke as a leader, and that's what part of his leader skill. I think it lasts for a very long time. It's like at least 3, maybe even 4 turns. It does last for a significant amount of time. And this is going to be very nice. Minus 50% defense is crazy good. And if you're coming up against like the last character alive, and it is, let's say, Angel, she won't necessarily have defense down block in that situation, but giving her minus 50% defense when she's got that 100% defense buff means the follow-up damage has a much better chance of, you know, absolutely destroying her. Okay, so we are here on turn 2, and I have got my signature move ready. I know I've got my rush ready as well, but we're showing you the signature move. I'm going to target a character, Dayu, because she has a weapon that can stun most characters, but because this just deals damage and doesn't attack the enemy, it's dealing damage to them. It cannot proc weapons, it cannot proc passives, so you're never going to have this sort of blocked in any way except for potentially like defense buffs and that sort of thing. Watch her buff disappear and watch a new debuff come in. This is going to be very good. That means any follow-up damage just has much bigger damage output than it would have otherwise. Minus 50% defense is huge, particularly on certain characters. And if you gear Eva out correctly, that 400% damage is going to be pretty crazy as well. We'll look at the upgrades here. At grade 2, it gets -1 to cooldown, so it goes from a 3-turn cooldown down to a 2-turn cooldown. At grade 4, it gets -1 to starting cooldown, so it goes from a 3-turn starting cooldown down to a 2-turn starting cooldown. At limit break 1, it gets an upgrade where it removes defense down block from a character. So initially it doesn't actually remove the defense down. And then at limit break 3, it gets an upgrade where it gets -50 defense. So initially it's just a big hit. It's going to be 400% damage at every single grade. But the debuff and, you know, the buff removal come in later on. So I can see this character being quite useful in quite a few modes. But now do remember that there are other leaders out there who I think have defense down block in their kits, and that would be Tara leads, but hers only lasts for the first turn, and Eva will not be able to do anything against that. But obviously you can just wait it out. The second turn when Eva would use her signature move there would still do the defense down. There would just be no defense down block to actually remove first. If any characters come out in the future that have any buffs on them where they can actually buff defense down block, Eva will always be available to remove that and then give the character defense down. And -50% is no joke at all. Now we'll move on to Eva's mythic abilities, her passive skills, and see if there's anything going to be doing any sort of healing because she's a medic. It is kind of strange so far. She has got spirit because she's a medic. That means any of her healing performed by this character also grants as bonus HP 20% of it. Tasty treats at the start of each turn, 100% chance this character has a guardian shield. Now you probably saw it in the clips before where she was just sitting there with a guardian shield. That's how it was happening, and that's actually pretty useful as a damage dealer. Now the fact that she can't cause reflect means that that guardian shield is always going to protect her against maybe passive reflect, because there are certain characters that have passive reflect, for instance Mercer, and you never know, there could be more in the future. But also it will stop things like bide, which is actually really useful. A lot of the time you can attack a bide character and they can reflect off their mods and do the bide, but that can't happen here. It would only be the bide, or it would just stop her from being dogpiled when she's, you know, on an attack team by the defense and taking as much damage. The next one is called tank down. At the start of each turn, 80% chance an enemy with the tank roll gets 50% defense down for 1 turn. That is actually really, really powerful, of course, just like her signature move. So you potentially could have this proc off of a turn, and then she could do her signature move against someone else, and you could have someone with a double hit rush come in and just absolutely destroy. So let's say like a Lilia on the same team, 2 tough characters left, very tanky tough characters. One gets the proc of this signature move, boom. Last passive is called Easter's Bounty. At the start of each turn, this character heals for 100% of their max HP. Now we're seeing where that medic comes from. That means that for every time she heals, she'll heal for 20% of this. I do believe she actually has to heal to have the proc of her spirit. It isn't like if she's 100% HP, it doesn't say, well, she would have received 100% HP, so here's 20% bonus HP. It doesn't work like Davy's specialist skill. It will just proc when she is healed. Now this heal does work into another part of her kit, which we will get into, but let's just go through the passives and just show you how they work. Now you can see at the start of my turn, we have managed to get the proc of the defense down happen against Steve. So if I did a basic attack here, we would have a chance to do quite a bit of damage. Also, as you saw, the Guardian Shield did block the bide. This would happen with her signature move, Rush. Basic attacks is a little risky just because that can proc the reflect mods on some, bide characters. But if you were just to attack a normal character with a basic attack and then reflect procced, it would obviously not, do anything because she's got that Guardian Shield. Now, if she gets focused, we'll see. But I will say that her bonus HP doesn't go up because of her passive at all. I did test it out. Unless she actually gets healed on her red bar, that red bar of HP, 20% of that will actually go into bonus HP. So if she gets healed for 5,000, for instance, if she was at 11,065 HP, she'd then get healed to max HP, and then she'd get 1,000 bonus HP. Her medic role does just seem to be a bit more self-sufficient and all about Eva rather than anybody else. But I don't actually think that's a problem, just because, like I said, her rush and her signature move would not take advantage of agility, so why not use something else that makes it more useful? I like this quite a lot here. If we look at the upgrades, you can see she gets the first half of Tasty Treats at grade 1, the first half of Spirit at grade 2, and the second half of Tasty Treats at grade 3. This gives it the 100% chance of Guardian Shield. She gets the first half of Tank Down at grade 4, which is a 40% chance that 50% defense down procs. And at grade 5, she gets the first half of Easter's Bounty. At the start of each turn, this character heals for 40% of their max HP. So it isn't a percentage of it actually proccing, she just heals for less HP, so it's still pretty powerful. Then we're going to the limit break. She gets the second half of Spirit at LB1, the second half of Tank Down at LB2, raising it to 80% chance a tank gets defense down, or 50%. And then lastly, she gets Easter's Bounty 2 at LB3, making it a 100% heal. Now do remember that Easter's Bounty and Spirit kind of do work in unison, where it'll give her basically a little shield if she is getting focused, and if you are going to just go all out attack on this character, which doesn't seem like a bad idea, she's going to get focused a little bit more often. Now this is where it gets a little bit special, because Easter Eva, as you probably realized, has a brand new specialist skill, and seeing as she is a bit more of an accessible character in event, that is actually really cool, and it is called Amped. At the start of this character's turn, if they are 100% HP, they get 50% of their max AP. This works off of turn 1, so that's why you probably saw in some of the clips before she had quite high AP, and this does mean that on turn 2 you should have a natural rush, and on turn 3 you should have 50% AP back again. She can rush quite quickly. It does kind of mess up the scenario with her signature move, but you get to choose. Do you want to set up your teammate with the defense down, or do you want to rush quicker and take away bonus HP? The choice is yours, and that is definitely not a bad thing. Okay, so we'll start the fight, and I've got her in a team pretty much just by herself. No leader, no weapons to give her AP. She gets 33 AP off of turn 1. She's going to get a 50% of her rush, of course. I've got Uncle Sam just to make it so that she doesn't get targeted here. I'm going to do a basic attack, and we're going to do it against Lao Po. And you can see we don't get enough AP to rush. However, on the next turn, she'll get amped proc again. It will happen again. It isn't just off of turn 1, it's just turn 1's guaranteed. And then this is what's going to happen on the next turn. Now, hopefully she gets a little focus now. Let's just have a little look. We will just start doing some hits. Let's go. I want to see her get focused. She's probably going to take... Actually, oh, here we go. She does get focused. And you see, she'll go up to 100% HP. I don't know if she'll get the 33 AP on the passive proc. Let's have a little look. I think the passive proc will just stop it. Yeah. So because her passive had to heal her, it doesn't proc amped. So it has to be before her passive comes in to heal her. But characters giving her bonus HP, any combat medics in the team are going to make, you know, it harder to hit her base HP. Any burn and bleeds are going to be an issue for her. Not just the 20,000 that we've got on right now, but like even small amounts, because it will bypass the bonus HP. And even if she loses 1 HP, it will not get a proc of amped. And that's why I say the guarantee is on turn 1. You always know it's going to happen on turn 1. But it does look like it has the potential to be a lot of fun if you set it up correctly. And it's definitely going to be useful. Now this is not all, because of course Eva does have an attached weapon, and it has got some unique specials on it as well. Easter Evas, Easter egg sniper. Yeah, a bit of a tongue twister there. 40% attack, a huge bonus to AP when attacking. In the third slot, here's one of the unique specials, Tank Buster. This character gets 100% attack when rushing an enemy with the tank roll. This is awesome for 2 reasons, obviously. It's going to do more damage, but she could have already done defense down on that character because of her passive, because it also focuses tanks. That's actually a really nice combo there. It kind of turns her into almost a dual specialist against tanks, because this is the kind of bonus you get if you have got a cutthroat 2 specialist skills. So this is actually kind of nutty. In the last slot is improved tough health. Up to 2 teammates get 10% bonus HP per turn for each tough teammate on the team. This is where you saw the bonus HP coming in, and it will be actually pretty decent to have this in that last slot if you don't have like a combat medic in the team. And if you go from the base weapon, you can get up to 55% attack and do pretty good damage. If you wanted to put a 1535 in that last slot, it would improve the damage, but remember, she can't crit, so the 35 on that 1535 is going to be pretty useless, but it will give her obviously a slightly higher damage boost, and also the teammates around her. Pretty much it's up to you how you want to build it, but that third slot does look very nice, like I said, particularly in combination with that passive. So overall, I think Easter Eva actually looks pretty good as a tough damage dealer. It's hard to say whether, you know, the other Eva is the better damage dealer or this Eva is. They do very different types of damage, but I can see people using probably both of them in the same team, because one of them relies on crits, has early burst, whereas this Eva could potentially set up the other Eva. Interesting combination there potentially. Now she is going to be part of the Easter event, like I said, and I did go over the event. If you do want to check out the information there and check how easy it's going to be to get your hands on this character, please do. But that is the end of my video, guys. Please tell me your thoughts on Easter Eva. What do you think about her skills? What do you think about the new specialist skill, Amped? Any thoughts in the comments down below? I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.